Morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News. This is where I share with you my thoughts on headlines that I'll read to you, and my thoughts may be based on me having just read the headline or me being an expert on the subject. I don't know, but it's not news, it's just my thoughts on the news. So let us proceed. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Today is Halloween, and this isn't an in case you missed it edition, because I was still reading my news feed when I was traveling and stuff. So it's some stuff that I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about that. So I'm going back, way back. I don't know how far back, but anyway, here's what candy corn is actually made of. It may surprise you. I think I looked at it, but I wasn't surprised. It's sugar and bull stuff. It's sugar and bull mess. Did you think candy corn was made of corn? And corn is not really a high quality good for you food anyway. Okay, Mississippi judge keeps mom away from baby for 14 months over unpaid court fees. So I owe the courts $200, $2,000, and so you're going to keep my baby away from me? Does that seem like buying a baby? I don't understand. And I still don't understand. I don't understand. Dang, I turned the heat off, and it's like I can feel the cold. It's like right here on this window. It's like coldness coming in to me. Catalonia is an integral part of Spain. That's a quote. The U.S. sides with Spain's government in Catalonia independence dispute. So I really don't understand what's going on. It's a whole nother part of the world, and it's like when you read news, it's so much propaganda anyway that it's hard to understand it. If you write in the middle of Detroit and you read certain stories, you'd be like, that's some bull. What had really happened was, but when you're halfway across the world and you don't have any history or context, I don't really know what to make of it. But I do know this, that if the American government is siding with Spain's government, then I'm probably on the side of Catalonia. But I might not be. I don't know. But it don't make me feel like I'm on Spain's side just because the U.S. government is on Spain's side, even before this present administration. Texas, Bob McNair facing backlash, the inmates running the prisons. And as soon as I saw that, I thought what he really wanted to say is we can't have the enslaved people. He wouldn't say enslaved people. We can't have them slaves running the plantation. And I saw somebody tweet that on Twitter, and I was like, retweet! Because that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. Burundi leaves International Criminal Court amid row. Oh, so Burundi is a country, and there was something where they're like, you're being unfair to African countries. I can't remember. But it's so much bull stuff in this world government that it's like, it's so many people. I mean, it's so many people who are good people, and it's so much bull mess going on. School honoring Confederate general has a new name. Its new name, it just says Justice. That's the new name, Justice. I kind of like the name Justice. I guess justice could have different connotations for different people, but I like Justice. Hey, what's up? Media groups condemn arrest of reporters at St. Louis protest. Dang, excuse me. I think this was Friday. This is the last thing I've heard about protests going on in St. Louis. So, my St. Louis Fabulites, I think that's just you poetry if you happen to be listening. Are there still protests going on in St. Louis, in the St. Louis area? So they arresting reporters now. So it's illegal to report what's going on. It's illegal to take pictures. Even when someone has press credentials, you think you can arrest them? This is some bull. That's totalitarianism, and it's some bull. I'm getting all inarticulate. I can't even get my words together. But I'm glad the media groups are condemning them. I condemn you too. Colored Orphan Asylum, founded out of compassion, destroyed by hatred. Paris removes sugar daddy advert. So it was like one of those trucks, you know, the real skinny ones that drive around that have advertisements on them. Have you seen them in your town? I don't see them that often in Detroit, but I have seen them before, maybe in New York or wherever. And my cousin used to be in a business that did something with them, I think. 2 of them or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, the ad is like, it's like a young woman and an older man, and they look like they're passionately about to kiss or just finished kissing. And it's like, you know, sugar daddy, get your sugar baby. And so people felt like that was a bit too much. You can't be, you know, that's basically like advertising prostitution and Johnism. I think we need a name for Johns. And we never hardly ever have names for men. Like we have names like she's a hoe, but we don't really have a name for a man like he's a John. That's just somebody's name. That's not like a virulent, nasty name. Just like they have the N-word for black folks, but and then we be like crackers. Crackers are something I eat. I don't feel no way, you know, I don't know how white people feel, but I know they don't feel the same way when somebody called them a cracker as if somebody were to call me an N-word. And when you call women hoes and scallywags and bitchs and tricks, and it's all kinds of names for women, but we need a vile name for you know, men who deal with prostitutes. Because really, I feel like the women are the ones that are just trying to make the best of a worse situation. They're not out there forcing men to give them money and have sex with them for the most part. The men are coming to the women. They're not necessarily forcing them, but society and the situation might be forcing the women to feel like that's their only or best option for surviving and thriving in the world. Like if you want to get an education and you like, well, I'll get a sugar daddy so I can pay for it. You know, why don't we have student loan programs? Why don't we have student education programs so that young women can, you know, pursue their education without feeling like they have to sell their bodies? I mean, I'm just wondering. South Africa coffin case, white farmers received jail term. So they put a black man in a coffin and buried him or whatever. White people, what y'all be doing? Why? I mean, not everybody, but get your brothers and sisters, get your people. Y'all got issues. Japan teen forced to dye hair black for school. Now, most Japanese people, I guess their hair is naturally black. This child's hair is naturally brown. And there are some children, they don't allow, like the dress code is strict in Japan, and they don't allow no, you know, unusual color hair. So I think that I read that, like, if you're like, well, my hair is naturally brown, you have to bring in pictures from you when you were a baby or a child to document that you're not just out here trying to, you know, get jazzy and break the dress code. So you know, and dyeing your hair is like a harsh thing. It's chemicals, it's mess and confusion. So they forced this teen to dye their hair for school, but the child said their hair was naturally brown. U.S. libraries will continue to preserve old games like Monopoly. What they preserving? Grambling State freshman arrested in deadly campus shooting. Did we talk about that? That it was that they arrested a young new student for killing. Was it shooting or killing? There were 2 people who were shot at Grambling. Were they killed? I can't remember. Journalist April Ryan says she almost quit after Sean Spicer incident, but she persisted. Hey, I think I've already done this. Hold on 1 second. We still got 10 more minutes. All right. Colin Kaepernick has reportedly agreed to a book deal worth $1 million. I couldn't figure out where I was, like which ones I had reported on and which ones I hadn't. But I don't think I talked to you all about this. But I'm really happy about Colin Kaepernick's book deal because, and I hope he has it, because that's good. It's using your brain. It's stimulating. It's helping us to grow and strengthen our brain cells. Whereas being on the football field, where people might be trying to jump on you and beat you, might be diminishing your brain cells. Y'all know I'm not a fan of these contact sports. So I was happy to see that about Colin Kaepernick. IKEA faces social media backlash after airing sexist ad in China. Most Netflix subscribers don't even bother with Hulu or HBO now. What does HBO have other than, of course, Insecure? Insecure, it was something else I saw on HBO. Nestle extracting water from Canadian towns on expired permits. I think that Nestle was the same company that was getting water from around here in Michigan, talking about, fuck Flint, forget Flint, excuse me, and that water isn't a right. And then they want to get water from our waterways for free in Michigan on expired licenses in Canada, and then say water isn't a right because they want to have the right to get it free and sell it to people. That's Nestle, right? Don't eat no Nestle chocolate. Don't boycott Nestle. I think Nestle is also the same company that was years ago I read about. They were selling formula in Africa that had been banned in the U.S. for being unsafe. Teen reports Chili's manager for sexual harassment and receives horrible response. Soylent banned in Canada over nutritional requirements. I think Soylent is one of these things you're supposed to eat. Like, oh, your children, they're young, they don't get enough food. We'll feed them these shakes. Oh, you're old, you're not getting enough nutrition. We'll eat these shakes. And the shakes are like the height of processed food mess. Like, no, don't eat the shakes. Don't feed your children the shakes. The new apex of power in China's Communist Party lacks one thing: women. Republicans just made it easier for you to get Equifaxed. They forever changing the laws in benefit and support of these big corporations. God forbid these big corporations wouldn't be protected by the government. The people don't need the protection. The big corporations need protection, right? Yep, 2 students shot dead. So the children at Grambling State, the young folks, were killed. And it was by a first-year student, they say. I haven't heard any follow-up to that. Outrage after white TA, that's teaching assistant, says she always calls on black women students first. So they were upset. Some people were upset. I thought it was a good policy. It's like a small version of affirmative action, because research shows that without being conscious, if it's a room full of students and you have white males, white females, black females, black males, and everybody raised their hand, then the teacher or whoever is making the selection is more likely to call on the white male. So this person is just trying to consciously do something that is counter that, in support of the collective, all of us. University of Michigan to offer bus service connecting Ann Arbor and Detroit to general public. They've been offering it to their people, but now the general public. So you go to Ann Arbor for like $10. I think it was like 10 or something like that. Decades before Misty Copeland, there was a prima ballerina named Janet Faye Collins. Hey, Janet Faye Collins. Sexual harassment. French MPs blacklisted by women staff. Teenagers charged after rock kills van passenger in Michigan. These were the 5 boys, and they aren't really little boys. They were teenagers, but they were old teens, like 15, 16, 17. They were old enough to know better than to be throwing rocks off of the edge of an overpass on the highway. I mean, I don't know. I might be separated in age from it, but that's too old for that foolishness to me. I don't understand. But they were charged, and I don't know what the update is on that, because that's an old story. Amazon cannabis delivery, Orlando couple shocked to find. So this couple ordered some empty bins, like the plastic bins, and they were kind of heavy, and it was like 50 or 100 pounds of weed in there. So the person who worked at Amazon just packed it up and sent it to the wrong person, or does Amazon send weed to some people but they just sent the weed to the wrong? How'd it happen in the Amazon plant? I mean, who worked there and bringing in 50 pounds of weed? How'd it happen? Mother says refusal to grant regular sexual favors to white detective led to wrongful conviction of her son. So if she had been like, oh, I'll give you regular blowjobs, or you can come have sex with me, you know, once a week, he wouldn't have prosecuted her son. But he prosecuted and convicted her son. Or the detective, I guess, does not do the prosecution or the conviction, but, you know, he was involved with it. Pollution is killing more people than wars, obesity, smoking, and malnutrition. Pollution. "12 everyday stretches that will help you stay flexible and fit at any age." You stretch. I've been trying to stretch more so that I can stay flexible and fit. I need to go through these 12 everyday stretches so that I could be more fitter. School disciplines students over racist video, but won't say how. We discipline them. How you discipline them? Well, we not gonna say how. What, you tap them on their finger? What you do? A leading Russian journalist who routinely criticizes Putin was stabbed in the throat. I guess somebody said that'll teach you to talk about Putin. Uber appoints new West African head to focus on Uber's service levels. Dutch cyclists can ride over a 3D printed bridge. This 3D printing is something they done made a bridge, and cyclists can ride over it. Caesar Bowlegs, well-respected interpreter in the Seminole Nation. Sharon Matthews, U.S. police find body in missing child case. Oh, it's so dark in here. I'm like, it's not really dark. It's like sunlight outside, but I guess. Justice for Janet, hashtag Justice for Janet reacts to Justin Timberlake 2018 Super Bowl headliner. So some people felt like Janet Jackson got shamed and harassed because she was standing there and someone years ago, Justin Timberlake, ripped off her shirt, her costume or whatever. Her nipple was exposed. It was called Nipplegate. But she was just standing there. She didn't rip it off. He ripped it off. But she was shamed. She had to apologize, or she did apologize. Then she unapologized because she said she didn't feel anything, she had done anything wrong. Then they say she was banned from the Super Bowl, but then I heard she wasn't banned for the Super Bowl. But it was like this big deal, and she was shamed and harassed, and you know, it was like Janet Jackson had did something wrong. But really, Janet Jackson was just standing there with a nipple. They wasn't harassing that man for pulling that thing. And if they did plan it together, then they should both equally be harassed. But if they didn't plan it together and he's the one that pulled and caused the wardrobe malfunction, then he should be the one who's getting most of the harassment. But no, he's a rich white man with property and power, probably. You see how this works? Patreon moves to restrict adult content on its crowdfunding site. A lot of YouTubers have Patreon. I don't know nothing about the adult content. Do recent moves by the Brazilian president show support for modern day slavery? You know, there was like a woman who was president, and she was kind of progressive, and she had black and brown people in the administration, and then they had her impeached, and now the administration is basically very, very white and male, and they're doing, it seems like, a lot of regressive things is the impression that I get from the outside looking in. So my guess would be yes, they're in favor of slavery. You know that Brazil was the last place in the Western Hemisphere to officially ban slavery, but you know, so they got issues. typhoon line hits Japan, leaving 3 dead. That's what I got for this edition of In Case You Missed It. This In Case You Missed It edition of Not News. This is Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. We're working on 200 subscribers. So if you are a charter subscriber, thank you. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Today is the best day ever. You are the greatest. You're number one. And you know what I want you to do? I want you to be you. Be fabulous, you. Be you, be fabulous, you.